Self-Love Sunday. I am Tarnisha Mosas, your host of Self-Love Sundays with Sass. I am your certified vision strategist coach, where we come every single Sunday to talk about all the ways in which we can better our best. And last week, y'all, was so powerful because we talked about overcoming shame and guilt. And if you haven't checked that video out, please go back and listen to last Sunday, because it's going to lead into this Sunday, right? So last week I was sharing about how shame and guilt unlocked something in me, right? But what I didn't tell you was what really happened after I got free. So last Sunday, I was at an event called Life Surge. It's absolutely game changing. I got to meet my mentor, in person, Priscilla Shire. I love her dearly. Also, I'm a huge fan of John Maxwell. He's the #1 leadership coach in the world. And so I've read all of his books, and he was there as well, and Ed Milet. So it was just like a room filled with good people. But they were talking about, how to equip God's people in the kingdom with wealth so that we can build the kingdom of God, right? So, because if you don't understand that we're in the middle of what it's about to be the biggest wealth transfer, then we're already starting off on the wrong foot. But that's not really where I want to go. I want to talk about how when I was leaving the event, right, I had to get a lift because I was taking the lift back because the event was in New Jersey. I live in Pennsylvania, but my parents live in Jersey. So I was taking the lift back to my parents' house. So imagine the craziness of all the streets being blocked off, after this event. So we were having a hard time getting a lift. And finally, after two of them had canceled on me, I get a lift. And this young man pulls up. First he couldn't get to me. Okay. It was all sorts of blockages. I told you, the streets are blocked off. And then finally he called and I said, hey, you just have to come up this street. Okay. And so he finally got it. He came around, and do you know, just before he was about to let my lift go, the streets opened up. And some of you would think to yourself, okay, whatever. When you're in this world, you'll know that nothing happens by happenstance, and it's not a coincidence. And on top of it, my phone was dying, because normally when I get in the back of a lift, I send it to, my kids to let them know so they can follow me, right? They know where I am, all of that. And then I just get on my phone. I don't really pay attention to what's happening, but my phone was dead. So I asked him, could I borrow his charger? He said yes. He put it on the charger, and something in my spirit was like, talk to this young man. Just talk to him. So we started talking, and we started sharing things. He started opening up. And before I knew it, I was pouring into him, speaking life, strategy, and God's purpose like nobody's business. Because what I realized while talking to this young man is, society has told our children something wrong. See, I'm almost 50. Okay. And this young man had to be every bit, in his early 20s. And I'm listening to him talk, and I'm like, oh no, let me tell him the truth. Let me give him the wisdom, the revelation, and the testimony that, life doesn't have to be this hustle, grind, beat yourself down mentality. And it allowed me, because I have such a beautiful gift. Here's the thing. I have such a beautiful gift. When I'm outside of myself, I can actually hear it and see it and speak it. I was able to see the things that was happening with him and what was going on. And so I was able to speak to him in such a way. This young man, I knew for myself it was life-changing. And before I got out of the car, I had him make a declaration and a promise to me. And when I got out of that car, I realized, real talk, that moment didn't happen by accident. I was in position. I need you to hear that. I was in position. And had I still been holding on to the guilt, the shame, the disobedience, the insecurity of all the things that were in me, I might have missed my assignment. See, sometimes we think that our assignment is in our jobs or whatever else we're doing to get busy. We don't realize that our assignment is person to person, day to day, thing to thing, where our spirits are being led and we're being called to. But we're missing it. See, some of you are praying for purpose and ignoring position. You're asking for impact, but you're not even in the posture to receive the moment when it comes. What if your impact is in the back of a Lyft or in the back of an Uber? What if the impact is that DoorDash driver that keeps coming to your house? What if your impact is the Amazon driver? What if your impact is the UPS person? What if your impact is that person you pass by in the hallway at your job? What if your impact is the young kid that you see standing on the street corner? What if your impact was right in front of you, but because you're chasing the applause and you're chasing what's happening on social media and the likes, you're missing the moment? Are you in position? Are you in position? I had to get to a place of self-love and healing in letting God's love shift. Come on, letting God's love shift my posture so that I can even be ready, not only to receive what God is trying to download into me, what the Holy Spirit is rising up in me, but also to be able to receive God's love for me. Because love isn't just a feeling, it's really a spiritual realignment tool. And so I was reading this week in 1 Corinthians chapter 13, and I love the Passion Translation Bible. And let me give this disclaimer, because I should have gave it in the beginning, but I'm going to give it now. I am not here to tell you who and what you should believe in. I'm here to tell you, as for me and my house, we shall serve the Lord. And let me tell you something about me and my house with my children. It is not a declaration that I'm punching down their throats. It's a declaration that I'm living, that I'm walking out, that I'm walking in obedience, and they're watching me. So I don't have to punch them in the face with it. They're watching me. I taught fitness for a decade. They watch me. So they go to the gym, not because I'm saying, hey, you need to get up and you need to be healthy and you need to do this. No, they watch me do it. They're standing up in their purpose and speaking out loud and becoming the best versions of themselves, not because I'm forcefully pushing something down their throat. It's because they're watching their mother do it. See, because I made a declaration years ago that I wanted to be their role model. I didn't want them to look to people on the television or the drug dealer on the corner or whomever else that they would see and say, I want to be like them. No, I wanted them to model after me, perfectly imperfect in all my ways, yet I still keep going. I still keep standing. I get rooted in the word, and that is even newer to me, right? But they watch the evolution and the growth of me. It's not about showing up in some completely perfect way that there's nothing ever wrong with me. Absolutely not. It's for them to watch the growth. So I hope that you stick around and grow with me, not because you think I'm trying to convert you to anything, because I am not. Just simply that you feel in alignment with what I'm speaking and knowing that it's speaking to you. Okay. And so 1 Corinthians 13 in the Passion Translation reads, love is large and incredibly patient. Are you patient with yourself? Are you patient with others? Are you patient with God? Love is gentle and consistently kind. Are you kind and gentle with yourself? Are you kind and gentle with others? Why am I starting with self first? Love thy neighbor as I love thyself. If you don't do it with you, you are not going to do it with others. If you're mean and impatient with others, it's because you're mean and impatient with yourself. If you are judging others harshly, it's because you judge yourself harshly. You sit in this large place of judgment that you don't feel worthy enough. You don't feel called enough. You don't feel anointed enough. You don't feel worthy enough. So therefore, you put everything that's within you on other people. It's not just that you're just that way. It's you decided to stay and be that way. And there is another way. There's always another way, and that's a choice. And above all, let love be the beautiful prize for which you run. Woo! And above all, let love be the beautiful prize for which you run. Love of self. Let me tell you something what happens when you start to love yourself. you realize some really cool stuff. You realize that what happened to you in childhood was not your fault. And you realize that but right now it's your responsibility. What happened back then is never your fault. You had no control over the environment that you were born in, the parents that were placed in front of you, and even some of the friends that were placed in front of you, because it was in the environment. It was not your fault, the things that happened to you. It was not your fault that somebody beat into you, that you were not worthy and that you were not enough and that you were never seen and that you were never hugged and no one ever told you that they loved you. It was not your fault that somebody touched you at a young age. It was not your fault that somebody molested you. It was not your fault. It was not your fault. It was not your fault. It was not your fault that your parents didn't show up to give you the love that you so desperately wanted and needed. It was not your fault that your father left. It was not your fault that your mother left as well. It was not your fault. It is not your fault that you were placed up for adoption. It was not your fault. And it is your responsibility to heal it, though. That's what self-love will do for you. It will help you understand that it's your responsibility, that you are the CEO of your life, and that your past does not get to dictate your present, because all it's doing is messing up your future. You want to know why you're not fulfilled or feeling fulfilled or like you're in the place that you desire to be? It's because the past is running your present. That 13-year-old girl, that 15-year-old boy, that 16-year-old girl, that 20-year-old boy, that's who's running the show. And then it's like, I can't get to where I need to get to, and I don't feel loved, and I feel in lack. I don't have enough. There's never enough there. I can't make this happen. It's all because your past is running your present, baby. And so when you hear them talk about going back to heal the inner child, you think, it's just, therapy talk. And what if I told you it's the very thing that's going to be the difference to heal between the bridge of where you are now and where you desire to go? And let me tell you this. Until I learned how to receive the love from God, I couldn't really give it. See, my people pleasers, we swear we out here loving on everything and everybody. We showing up in all the places, plane, trains, automobiles, we will be there. We got your back, your front, your side, and your middle. And you're doing it from a place of emptiness. You're doing it from the place of, I'm doing this for them because I hope and pray somebody do it for me. And so when they don't show up for you, you feel resentful. But we were never supposed to do it in that place anyway. And so until I learned how to love myself and to understand that I'm the CEO of my life, that means I can hire and fire accordingly. That means it's on me to set the boundaries now. It's on me to set the tone. It's on me to say nobody will ever be able to manipulate. Who can manipulate me? What? There is no such thing, because I'm not going to manipulate or betray myself. When you stop betraying yourself, when you stop crossing your own boundaries, when you stop showing up in the dating world saying, hey, I'm not going to have, sex before marriage. And then he talks the sweet talk. And because your inner child is running your life, you ended up creating another soul tie with him. And then the relationship is over. And you're like, well, what happened? What happened is you keep betraying yourself. And then you're expecting somebody else to respect you. You got to respect you, baby. You got to respect you. You got to respect you. And when you respect you, your whole world changes. And here's the other thing too. I couldn't be trusted to pour into someone else and not bleed on them. Listen, until I learned how to love myself, I couldn't be trusted to pour in someone else and not bleed on them. See, you think you're helping them. No, you're bleeding all over them. Your energy meets them before your mouth ever does. And so sometimes you show up and you think I'm about to, I'm going to shift something in them. They realize that really what it is you're lacking and you're insecure. And so they're going, let me tell you something about a parasite. Okay, they pick up on it and start to suck in that blood. And then before you know that you're depleted, still don't feel seen, still don't feel heard, still don't feel loved. It's because you are looking for somebody else to give you something that they can't give you. It has to start with you. You have to talk about how the shame, the unworthiness, and the disobedience cloud your vision and pulls you out of position. This is why we got to get to love of self. You hear me come here and talk about Self-Love Sunday, and you think it's just another buzzword. I promise you it's not. I promise you it's changing the game. I promise you it is. And I'm going to tell you something about God's love. It doesn't just comfort. It calibrates you. It gets your heart back in alignment so that your hands can be put to work. So you can do what you've been called to do. So you can speak when you're supposed to speak. So when you walk in a room, you shift atmospheres. When they see you coming, they're like, who is that? Do you know, because of the shift that I've created in my life, I've written books about it, that when I walk in the room, my presence is felt, not from a place of, what am I going to get? Oh my God, do I really belong here? No, I walk in that room knowing that God placed me there, that I'm supposed to be here. Even how I show up and when I speak in these videos now, it's completely different. You can go back and look at how I showed up in 2017. And we have to get ourselves back in alignment and in position to connect. We have to connect back to ourselves, mind, body, and spirit. So I know you're saying, I hear you, Mo. How are we going to do that? The first thing you have to do is get honest. Okay. I'm going to give you 3 practical steps. Just three. Because you know what the truth of the matter is? This stuff is so simple. We make it hard and complex. We don't trust ourselves. So when other people come and they give us something so easy, we don't trust it. It's easy. It's a choice and a decision every single day. I really should say 4 practical steps, because the first thing you have to do is you have to decide. I had to decide that enough was enough, that I wasn't going to, keep living in my pain. I wasn't going to let my 16-year-old self keep running my life and self-sabotaging everything that I have been working hard towards. And here's the thing about her. She loves me to death. She's not trying to self-sabotage me on purpose. She's not trying to hurt me on purpose. She's trying to protect me, because that's what the brain does. The brain naturally goes to safety and protection. And that breeds comfort. And so we have to get to a place where we regulate ourselves so that we can get into discomfort, because everything we want is on the other side of the comfort zone. And we have to trust. We have to trust when we are co-creating with God that He is leading us. You understand? So the first thing, I'm going to say 4, is you have to make a decision here and now. Stop waiting on somebody else. Nobody is coming. They can't even come because you're not even going to trust them when they come. You're not going to trust them. Nobody's coming. So it starts with you. And let me tell you something. Let me tell you a secret. I'm going to give you the in. I'm going to get in. But when you get yourself in position and you make it your responsibility to be CEO of your life, and you start to love yourself, they come. Don't tell nobody I told you that. Oh, and then they come. Okay. So let's get into it. Number 1, you have to make a decision. Number 2, start each day with honesty. Recenter your heart. Where is my heart today? What am I carrying that doesn't belong? I want you to write that out. Every morning when you get up, first of all, we should say thank you, okay, for another day. Because another day above ground is another day for us to be, do, or have anything that we desire, as well as walk into our fullness and our purpose of God. Okay. So I want you to ask yourself, where's my heart today? What am I carrying that doesn't belong? All right. So I want you to write it down, and then I want you to pray it out. Because here's the thing. Most of us lead our life emotionally constipated. Let that emotion out. Let that emotion out. Because here's the thing. What happens when you don't let the emotion out? You make emotional decisions. I had to understand why my money wasn't flowing the way that I wanted to, is because I was making emotional decisions with my money. I was in a reactionary mode with my money. My money couldn't flow with the give and receive because I was too busy. Every time I'm upset, either I'm going to eat it out, I'm going to go shop it out, retail therapy. All of that stuff is emotion. And this is why we're not walking in abundance. There is a stream to spending money, but it's not from a broken place. Okay? So you have to ask yourself every morning, recenter your heart. Number 2, get in the right environment. Who are you around that reminds you of the God in you? Who are you around that reminds you of the God in you? What communities are you a part of? Who's speaking into your life? What videos are you listening to? What are you watching on social media? What is your algorithm bringing to you? You have to get in environments where people remind you of the God in you. And here's the thing about those environments. They have to first recognize the God in themselves. Stop being around people that can't see themselves, don't understand, and have no vision or nothing for themselves. They're not clear. Where there is no vision, our people perish, okay? So we got to be around people that have a strong vision, but not just a vision that they see, a vision that they execute and walk in. Whew. That's a difference. A servant leader walks the walk and not just talk it. You got to be intentional about the rooms. I'm in this wealth mastery course right now. I'm in the room with multimillionaires, billionaires, from people that all walks of life too. There's some people who don't even have $50,000, $100,000, but the room is filled to capacity. Why am I in here? Because there is knowledge and wisdom that we are not aware of. This world is changing so fast. By the time 2030 come, I promise you, everything that we think and move and maneuver in right now, it's going to cease to exist in the way of which we know it. But if you're not in those rooms, if you're not in the right environment, if you're not being led by the Spirit of God, whoever you call your God, guess what? You're going to be behind. And then what happens is that wealth gap gets bigger and bigger, and you get bitter and bitter instead of getting better and better. So what communities are you in? What conversations are you having? Are there conversations that expand your capacity? Are there conversations about vision? What room are you in? You got to get in the rooms. And if you can't afford to get into some of the bigger rooms, get into the rooms with the people that are in the rooms. Holla at your girl. Okay? Last, you got to commit to obedience. I'm not talking about being perfect. I'm just talking about when God nudges you, you got to move. When your body says rest, honor it. When God says go, you go. When it's time to pour, don't hesitate. If God gives you a word for somebody, don't sit on that word. And if it keeps stirring in your spirit, let me tell you something. There's something in you that you are meant to unlock and unleash. I knew when I was sitting in the back of that lift, everything that God had given me was to unlock and unleash that young man. And you know something he said to me? He said something about, going to school for whatever it was would take, 8 or 9, years. And I said, okay, that's one way to look at it. Or you can say, what if I spent the next 8, 9 years doing exactly what I'm doing now? Where will my life be? That's the question. Some of y'all talking about time. But if you keep doing the same things over and over and over again, hoping for a different result, you're insane. And that's why your life is insane. And this is why there is chaos and there's no movement. So what if it takes you 2, 3, 4, 5 years? Where will you be if you don't do it? What is it going to cost you to sit and stay the same? What is it going to cost you to keep trying to do it on your own? What is it going to cost you to keep talking 2 and 3 or 4 or 5 jobs and not being a good steward over your money? Because this is why it's not in the place that you need it to be or want it to be. You're in scarcity. You're in lack. You're in a place of desperation, in a place of survival. And you keep talking about with the world. I understand what's in the world, but what's in your spirit? How are you walking this out? I'm so grateful. Because of this, I'm in the room. I'm in wealth mastery listening to things that other people are never going to be privy to because they don't put themselves into position. Are you in position? Being in position, please know, it doesn't mean perfect. I make mistakes. It just means being available when God calls your name. I'm going to say it again. Being in position does not mean that you are perfect. It just means being in position when God calls your name. When he calls your name, are you ready to speak that thing you're supposed to speak or do that thing you're supposed to do that only you can do? And you keep saying, I hear that, but I don't get it. What do you think that your fingerprints are uniquely made and you think that you're not? Your DNA is so uniquely made that if you commit a crime, they can link it to you. But you still don't think that you're special? That's because of who you're around and who you're talking to. You got to get in the right environment. So number 1, you have to decide. Number 2, you got to get honest every day. Number 3, you got to get in the right environments. And lastly, it's time to get obedient. When God nudges you, you got to move. Okay? And so we are really in a pivotal season. I don't know whether you see it or not. This world is shifting fast. I'm in this this wealth mastery, and they're talking about AI and everything that's coming. And first of all, I didn't even know AI had been kind of this thought pattern from 1965. Did you know that they were thinking about this type of technology in 1965? Do you know that the way that we're living now, our ancestors would think that we're some sort of gods? Think about it. Your great 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 grandmother would think we're some sort of gods, the way technology is moving. So AI, technology, culture, identity, it's all evolving. But while the world is changing, you don't have to be confused. Because let me say this to you, the kingdom isn't shaken by chaos, and neither are those who are in position. The kingdom isn't shaken by chaos, and neither are those who are in position. Because when you're in position, you have the information. Information and knowledge is great, and you have to execute on what you receive. So then once you get it, you have to execute on it. How do I execute on it? You can teach it to someone else, or you can start to look at how can I incorporate the new AI and the technology and the culture into what I am doing? How can I show up differently in my job? You don't have to be an entrepreneur. But for those of you who are entrepreneurs, I'm going to tell you right now, you got to start to think about how you can grow and evolve. You're going to be the next Blockbuster. You remember what happened with Blockbuster when Netflix came in? Yes, it's going to be you and your business. It's going to be you and your household. Your household is going to be the next Blockbusters. They are building communities because they realize that millennials and Gen Zs cannot afford to purchase homes. So they're building these communities to give them all the amenities to stick them in, to make them renters for the rest of their lives. And this stuff is coming. And whether we like it good, bad, or ugly, are you going to be the person that gets to invest in it so that you can, bridge the wealth gap in your family? Or are you going to be the person sitting on the sidelines and renting? That is a choice that is up to you. But if you're feeling off and wondering why your purpose isn't landing, it's time to check your posture. Are you in alignment, mind, body, and spirit? Are you busy performing? Listen, are you busy performing for the masses and don't have any real presence? I'm telling you, when your life is aligned, your voice hits different. When I speak, people listen. There's a reason why. Your presence carries weight. Your obedience opens doors. I already know what's coming for me, because I'm going to continue to walk this thing out every day. And that's the other thing I'm going to say to you. Instant gratification is killing you, baby. Instant gratification is killing you. I had to stick with this thing, and I'm still not where I want to be. Let's just keep that all the way a buck. And I started this YouTube thing in 2017. Is it where I like it to be? No, but I'm not quitting on myself. I get to grow and evolve, and so do you, but you got to start now. Don't wait. We're learning about compounding. Don't wait for 5 years. In 5 years, that can be the difference between you having $100,000 or $1 million versus 5. You got to start where you are and start today. You have to get yourself a spending budget. I know people don't like to think about it as a budget, right? So cool. Get yourself a spending budget. You have to start being a good steward of your money. I'm telling you guys, this wealth gap is about to be huge. And you have to position yourself. This is not from a place of scarcity. I don't live like that. I'm not saying we should get scared. Absolutely not. There is no such thing, because again, when we're kingdom driven, we're not in chaos. There's peace in the middle of this storm because God is in the boat. God is in the boat. You got to understand that, okay? So here's the thing. If this message spoke to you, I really want you to just write in the comments that you are ready to be aligned. You are ready to be aligned. And if you're ready to take that next step with God, and I know everybody isn't, and that's okay, but if you are, I just want you to pray this with me. Father God, I want to walk with you. I believe you love me. I believe you designed me on purpose for purpose. Today, I say yes to you. Lead me, align me, and use me. Lead me, align me, and use me. Lead me, align me, and use me. I say yes to your will and to your way. In Jesus' name, amen. And know that when you pray a prayer like that, this is the beginning. This is just the beginning. That means that you have to make a choice to decide who are you going to walk to, along your spiritual journey. Whether you decide, a church house, what type of environment you're going to be in, who are you going to allow to lead you. That's so important. When you think about, I'm going to give you this last nugget before I get out of here and we talk about success. Okay, when we talk about success, the number one rule to success is, who do you listen to? The second rule in success is, are you teachable and coachable? If you answer yes to everything, if you say, I know, you are not. Because to know is to do. And if you're not doing, you don't really know it. Because you never know until you get in the thick of it. I love you so much for listening today. I hope you have the most amazing Sunday. And I'm going to come back next week and talk to you more about wealth mastery and the things that I'm learning. Because as I learn, I'm going to share so we can grow together. Because why? We are designed to win. I love you. Talk to you next week.